These are the 5 things golfers get wrong about hitting their irons. We're going to go one by one through them, and I promise you at the end of this video, you'll find something that'll improve your golf swing. Number 1, most people finish too high through the ball, and they're doing that maybe subconsciously, maybe consciously, because they've been told to, or subconsciously because they're trying to make the ball go up in the air. They know irons have loft on them, they know the ball is supposed to go up in the air, and so they're making a swing trying to make the ball and lift the ball up in the air. That causes them to hit behind the ball a lot, chunking it, or it causes them to top the ball a lot. And it definitely ruins your angle of attack and where you're trying to compress the ball correctly with an iron. So there's several things you can do to think about this. The one is, I like, if you take a video yourself or you look in a mirror, I like to see this shaft through your shoulder plane on the way back. And as I swing through, I want to see the shaft of this club going through this shoulder. If you're going too high, you'll see that the shaft will go through your neck or through your head. And that'd be a pretty good thing to check yourself on camera just to see what your finish looks like, especially if you're struggling with fat and thin shots or shots that are going to the right. We don't want to finish high. The best players, as this club strikes the ball and exits, this club is parallel to the ground and parallel to the target line over here after their finish. When we're going high, you can see that obviously it's not going to be in the same position. So learn to follow through correctly, and it'll go a long ways towards helping you. One of the drills I like for this too is a very simple drill, but a very productive drill, and it helps most of my students. I like to take a golf tee and just place it on the ground 3 or 4 inches in front of the ball. And what your goal is as a player is to strike this ball, but then you still want your club head low enough to the ground that it also strikes that tee on the follow through. If you'll do this tee drill, it'll help you with your finish, and you'll hit some of the best iron shots of your life. Number 2 is kind of more mental than physical, but I see it all the time, and shoot, I'm guilty of it a lot myself. Most people, as they progress through their set, they know that a 5-iron is supposed to go farther than a 7-iron, and so they actually swing harder with the 5-iron than they do with the 7-iron, and it results in mishits. You don't have to swing harder. The club itself is made to hit the ball farther. So one of the best pieces of advice I can give you is for sure to keep the same tempo, whether you're hitting a 9-iron or a 7-iron, same tempo for your 5-iron, same tempo for your 3-iron. The club's designed to go farther. You don't have to make it go farther. But if you're trying to swing harder because you know it's supposed to, a 3-iron is supposed to go 200 yards, well, you're making a big mistake and you're going to have a lot of mishits, and it's not going to go as far because of the mishits. So keep your tempo smooth and it'll really, really help you. Number 3 on what's killing you with your irons is likely ball position, okay? Ball position's 2 things. It's not only the direction it is to each foot, whether forward or back, but it's also your distance away from the ball, if you're too close or you're too far. I find a lot of guys that driver's their best club and they can't hit their irons. It's because they stand far away from the ball. And with driver, that's not too bad a mistake. But if you get too far away from the ball with your irons, for one, they're not going to sole correctly, either at address or impact. And 2, it promotes too flat a backswing on the way through, and you're not steep enough with your angle of attack. So ball position, both distance away and where it is between your feet, is really important. Tricky part is the distance away part depends really on your body type and how you're built. So really tall, thin guys are probably going to be a little closer to the ball than short, stocky guys. And so you've kind of got to find your own spot. But the best guideline I can give you, and if you watch a lot of golf on television, you'll see that most of the players, when they address the ball, sole the club flat on the ground. Once it's sold correctly, you're not allowed to lift this handle or lower this handle when you take your grip and your stance position. So sole the club correctly, and then I like this butt end of the club to point at your belt buckle, just slightly below your belly button. And if you'll watch on television, you'll see almost every tour player, this end of this club here points right at their belt buckle at address. Does it with every club, does it with driver too. Bryson's obviously an example where it doesn't. And there's a few other exceptions that, like Tony Finau, that might have a lot really low hands where his club points down there. But they play well in spite of doing that, in my opinion, not because of it. For you as a recreational player, you're going to have a lot better success if the end of this club points at your belt buckle. That being said, also, I'm pretty old, as you guys know. When I was learning to play, almost everybody had their hands forward at address like this. The equipment was so much different and the ball was so much different. I'm not sure that wasn't the correct way to do it then. But I think the correct way with the modern equipment is to have this club so the shaft's between your arms at address, and so you can continue to keep this club between your arms on the backswing and follow through, and it'll lead to a lot straighter ball flight and a lot more consistent contact. Again, it kind of depends on the player and what your ball flight is. Guys that tend to hit fades might play it one way, and guys that tend to hit it draws might vary it a little bit. But as a basic principle for a recreational player, I like, if this is the middle of my stance here, right where my sternum is, I like for wedges to pretty much have a center ball position. Maybe slightly back might be better for some players, maybe slightly forward might be better for others, but a pretty good guideline is with your shorter irons, play them in the center of your stance. As the clubs get longer, I like just to scoot just a little bit. So I have an 8-iron here, and for me, that's probably where I would play 8-iron, is just off my front pec. And that's a pretty good guideline. Then if I carry a 5-iron or you carry a 3-iron, then maybe off your front ear might be a pretty good ball position. But I don't like to get it much more forward than that. If you get it too far forward and you start playing irons like you're playing your driver, you're going to end up with your shoulders open at impact because you reach for the ball like this, and it's going to destroy your takeaway and your club path. Keep in mind how important ball position is, and it'll go a long ways and towards hitting the best irons you've ever hit. Number 4 is really important. You have to understand how your hands work in the golf swing. Your hands and your fingers are the only thing that's touching the golf club. And if you're not using your hands correctly, then you're not using the golf club correctly. So understand how your hands work, and it'll really help you. Most new players that I see, and if you give a little kid a golf club, the first thing they try to do is hit the ball with their hands. They're trying to make the club head move back and forth by hinging their hands like this. That's the worst possible thing you can do. And especially with irons and trying to hit a ball that's on the ground and not teed up, you're going to really struggle making contact if you don't use your hands correctly. Our hands in the golf swing actually hinge this way. They hinge up and down. For a lot of really good players, they might hinge just slightly to the back as you go up. But gosh, for really new players, I like it just to feel like this club's just working straight up and down. And the very first thing I do with new players is I teach them to turn to where they get the club to here, and then simply I want these hands to hinge up. And it does a lot of things. It keeps the club face square all the way through your swing, but it also gives you the correct angle of attack to be able to hit the ball off the turf. And so really pay attention to how your hands work. So that's a pretty simple drill. You can even do it at this level. You can just have the club parallel to the ground. You can turn 90 degrees back, and then you can hinge them up over your shoulder. And if you can learn that simple motion, it'll go a long ways towards making the best contact you've ever made with your irons. Finally, number 5, Impact is everything with irons. You have to learn to hit the ground correctly and in the right spot. And that's not easy to do, but there's some things that you can do that will greatly enhance it. I recommend practicing with an alignment stick or a towel or a cardboard box on the ground and having the ball not very far away from it. Ideally, I'm trying to strike it in the middle of the club face, and if I do that, the toe of my club will just barely miss the alignment stick. If my path is incorrect, I can hit the stick before I hit the ball or after I hit the ball, and it'll give you a lot of feedback. I also like using a towel or a head cover or another alignment stick and simply placing it on the ground because it's pretty high. I like it a little farther from the ball so the shaft wouldn't hit the ball. But boy, just create yourself a path to where you can swing your club head through and then learn to strike the ground in the same spot every time, and your impact will greatly improve. The last step I would do with this drill as well is I would take a tee and I would place it on the ground, maybe to start 2 inches in front of the ball. And I would like you to hit the ball and the tee after the ball and make the tee go out on the range. And then your angle of attack and the way you strike the turf will really help you. So I hope these tips help. I'm sure they will. They're fundamentally correct. They'll go a long ways towards improving your strike. We've got a course that we've done that primarily works on driver, but it really works with irons as well. It's a slicer's checklist. It's just not for slicers. It's really the correct way to swing a golf club. The link's below, money back guarantee if you don't like it, but I think you will. And here's to a good golf season this year.